How's it going? Don Russo from Freeway Music with you today on a Monday instead of a Tuesday. My friend Colin, who does the Monday broadcast, is closing on his house today, so we switched days to do our Facebook Live broadcast. So today I'm going to be talking about something that's near and dear to my heart, and that is Robert Newton and his vision system. And I know that there have been probably maybe a video or two out there from my good buddy Munson Summer. Check him out on YouTube, Munson Summer. But Robert Newton was an inspiration to all of us, and he created his own system called the Vision System, and it is amazing. And he's no longer with us, but he was hands down the most amazing guitar teacher ever. He was my teacher for about 5 years, and he taught every great guitar player I know in my area, and he's kind of a legend around here. And his system is called the Vision System, and it's a number system. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start introducing you guys to this over the course of the next several lessons, because I think this is one of the best things that I've ever learned as a guitar player. Now, I do want to forewarn you that I'm going to move through it a little quicker than I would in a private lesson, so I'm not going to slow down for anyone. I'm just going to teach it. If you have questions, you can comment in the comments as we go through it together. And if you, if you really need help, I would recommend signing up some private lessons with someone who can help you with this kind of thing. Okay, so we're going to start right into it. So we're going to start off with, last time we did, the video we did last week was on octave zones and being able to shift your octaves within a position, which is incredibly helpful and good for you if you want to get a good foundation of your neck and understanding where notes are in a given position. Quick review of that. What that basically means is if I were doing a progression, like the one I was just warming up with, which was A, F, C, E, or A, F, C, E. So pick a position that would be 5th fret to 9th fret. Play your octaves that fit that position, and then do the same thing in another position, If you don't understand that, just go watch the other video from last week and you'll get it, okay? It's really an incredible exercise that will be very helpful for you. So, in the meantime, what we're going to do is talk about the first two shapes that are introduced into the Vision System, how to practice those shapes, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the application of those two shapes. But I'm going to wait until the next video to really get into that, I believe, because I think maybe today's lesson with the thirds and the fifths will be a good start for you. So, in the Vision System, the way it's designed is it's a visualization system where you're visualizing intervals, okay? And all the intervals are going to be floating around your root note. So your root note is basically the center, and you have these orbits that float around the root note. And the most important thing to do when you're doing the Vision System is to keep your eye or your visionary point of view always on the root note so that you can see these shapes come alive. Okay, so we're going to start off with the major third, which is the third note of the major scale. Right? And this may be rudimentary for some of you guys, and I know a lot of you guys out there that have been playing forever oh, I know what a third is. That's great, but hang with me for the next several videos because it gets really complicated down the road. So we're just starting off with the basic foundation. So even though you might be an awesome player, stick with this, all right? So what we're going to do is talk about the basic third shapes. Okay, now, some of the rules with the Vision System. There are some parameters, some boundaries that are put within our visionary zone, if you will. So if I'm playing a note here, this is a G. Let me go up here to A. If I'm playing A, right here, then I don't want to visualize past basically 4 frets away. So this is 7 to 11. I don't visualize from here to 12. Or the opposite direction. I wouldn't go past 4 frets this way. So 7 to 3. I wouldn't visualize to the 2nd fret from this note here, okay? So my range of visualization is going to be +4 in either direction. Then also, 2 strings away this way, 2 strings away this way. And I would not visualize to the top string. That's 3 strings away, so that one's out of my range. So my range is basically a box like this that consists of 4 frets in either direction and 2 strings in either direction. Okay, that's my range of visualization, if you will. So, as I am visualizing this, what I do is I need a name for the shapes, okay, so that I can keep them together in my head, like if I'm referring to a specific third. So I'm going to introduce you to the names of the different types of shapes. You have what are called same string shapes. That's like a shape that is on the same string, right? So like if I'm playing this note and I play this interval here, that's a major second interval. That's the same string, major second. Or if I do this, that's a dominant 7 or minor 7 interval. And this is a major third. And this is an augmented 5th or flat 6th, however you want to call it. So those are all on the same string within that range that I just talked about. Okay. Then you have what's called above adjacent. So that means it's above the root note. That means going this way. For you guitar players, you know that things are upside down on guitar, right? Like this is up, this is down, this is up, this is down. I mean, it just seems backwards. So above adjacent is going to be above and on the next string. So this would be the adjacent string to my root note, whatever my root note is. So if I were here, this would be above adjacent. Or if I were here, this would be above adjacent, right? So whatever my root note is, I go above and adjacent to my root note. And so like, for example, this 5th shape here is above adjacent. And this 3rd shape is above and adjacent. Okay. And now if I go below adjacent, that's going to be below my root note and next to the string that I'm on. Any of these notes right here, those are all below adjacent. Okay. Now above outside is when you skip 2 strings to the outside of my range. Remember, my range can only go 2 strings away, right? So that means that if I'm 2 strings away from my root note, I'm on the outside of my range. So this is above and outside. All of these are above and outside. Below outside would be below, and it would be 2 strings away on the outside of my range. Remember, we can only go 2 strings away anyway, so. These are all below outside shapes. So I have same string. So we can go from here. Above adjacent. Any of these. Above outside. Below outside. So any of those shapes that are inside of my range of visualization are going to be considered same string, above adjacent, above outside, below adjacent, or below outside. So just make sure you take a second and get that in your head and like quickly review that, because as I refer to these shapes, I'm going to be calling them by their names. Okay. So we're going to start off right away with thirds, and like I said, the third is the 3rd note in the major scale. So what we do is we're going to start off with the easiest one, the same string major 3rd shape. That's going to be 2 whole steps above your root note, just like that. Okay? And I'm going to do an exercise where I go down each string and do this. This is called a unit shape. That means it's 1 unit of the entire composite shape, which we will talk about in just a minute. I don't want to confuse you too much. So this is the same string, unit, major 3rd shape. So watch this. So I'm going to go and the next string. Now when I go here, I'm going to actually move up a fret because of the tuning of the guitar. So I can stay like in 4ths, so I can stay in a... If you don't understand that, don't worry about it. Just move up a fret. So here we go. And then stay up a fret. And then back down. And then what I'm going to do is do the above adjacent 3rd. That's the 2nd most common one. So this is another unit shape. So I'm going to start here. And I'm going to go right here, just up 1 string and down 1 fret, right here. And I'm going to take it up. Now watch this, when I get here, it doesn't sound right anymore because of the B string, the tuning of the guitar. I did a video on the B barrier, the G-B barrier concept, which is kind of like between the G and the B. There basically is a barrier that makes you have to like move up and down accordingly. Go check it out. It's on here, it's on Facebook, it's also on YouTube. So anyway, so in here you have to move this note up. Basically, if you go from the G string to the B string, you have to slide up. So then as I move this up, this note has to slide up. I move it down, this one has to go down. This one has to go down. So that's... So those are my 3rd shapes. Those are my above adjacent 3rd shapes. So I did the same string. the above adjacent. Now I'm going to do the below adjacent. So I can't obviously do a below adjacent note from here because I don't have a string, right? There's no string there. So I go here and I go below adjacent right here. So that's down one string, and I'm going to go 3 frets this way. Okay, this is a root and a third. A root and a third. Root, third. Root, third. So right here, my bad. Right here, my root note went up, but this third has not gone up yet. So I got. Okay, so this slides up. Then here, now this one slides up. So that's my below adjacent third. Then the fourth and final third shape is going to be the below outside third, which is going to look like this. I can't do it from here because I don't have 2 strings down this way. I can't do it from here because I don't have 2 strings down this way. So I have to actually start this one from the D string. So the below outside third is going to go down 2 strings and up 2 frets. Right here. Now when I go here, this note moves up and stays up. That's my below outside third. Let's review. Same string. Above adjacent. Below adjacent. Below outside. Cool, right on. So those are the 4 basic major third shapes. Now you might be thinking to yourself, what about above outside? That's one of the shapes that I talked about earlier, but I didn't show it for the third, okay? And that's because it would be like outside of the range. See how far outside of the range that is? That's going to be outside of that 4 fret rule this way. So there is no above outside third. Okay, now once you have those unit shapes down, you can start putting them together in what's called a composite shape. That's where you do all of your thirds from one root note and you move it down to each string. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to start on the low E. I'm going to do a same string third, above adjacent third, and I can't do below adjacent or below outside because I don't have either one there. Okay, now I go to the next string. Same string, above adjacent. Now I have the below adjacent. Cool. Next string. Same string, above adjacent, below adjacent, below outside. I can do all 4 from right there. Okay, one more time. And then here, I can do same string, above adjacent, below adjacent, and below outside. And remember, your above adjacent here is going to go here, not here, because of that B string. Okay. Now I'm here on the B string. And remember, I moved up for that root note right there. I'm going to go below outside, below adjacent, same string, above adjacent. And the last one, below adjacent, below outside, below adjacent, same string. And I can't do above adjacent because I don't have that string there. But I always know my root note from my ear so I can resolve it in my head. Another thing that's really good to do is to sing these out loud while you're practicing them, like root 3, 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 root 3. That way you can like kind of get used to like hearing the interval. So so when you hear like this now, root 3, 3, root 3, root 3, root 3, right? So you can kind of hear the interval in your head and you can sing it back out. So when you hear it, you know what interval is being played. The whole concept of this is not just to see your guitar, but to train your ears to what a third actually sounds like. So when you hear one, you're like, I know what that sounds like, and I know like all the shapes for it, right? On my guitar. Okay, so those are thirds, and that's how you practice it. Your composite third, just go up just like this. So I'm going to run through it like I would practice it at home. Cool. Thirds. There you go. I know I'm blowing through this, but I do want to be able to get through a good bit of material over the next several weeks. And so if you want to learn this more in detail, I would recommend signing up with someone who can teach you privately. All right, here we go. So going into fifths. Fifths are the next interval that I always teach. And so we're going to start here on the top. And I'm going to show you your 3 fifth shapes. There are technically 4, but I only do 3. So Robert had a 4th one in there, but I never used it a ton, so I'm not going to teach it to you guys. Here we go. So a 5th interval looks like this. The most common one is the power chord. That's root 5. That's above adjacent, and then above outside. Cool. Let's go to the next string. Same thing. And then below adjacent right here. So I'm showing them to you in composite form. Let me back up and show you the actual unit form first. So this is the above adjacent. Do it on each string. Alright, that's above adjacent 5th. Here's the above outside. It's down 3 frets and then up 2 strings. And then the B string right here. So, above adjacent, above outside. And then you're below adjacent, which you can't do from here, obviously. So we go to the string. That's the easiest one. That's like that kind of like root 5 thing that you hear sometimes in bluegrass or in like bossa nova. Anyway, so we got root 5. Root 5, root 5. It's easy to get lost on these. Root 5, root 5. Backwards, root 5, root 5, root 5, root 5. So we got above adjacent, above outside, below adjacent. Sounds funny on the way back. All right, now we're going to do the composite 5th shape. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to go above adjacent, above outside, and that's all I can do. I can't do my below shape from here. Next string, above adjacent, above outside, and below adjacent. Next string, above adjacent, above outside, below adjacent. Above adjacent, above outside, below adjacent. Above adjacent, and I can't do above outside anymore, so below adjacent. So that's my 5th composite shape exercise. Sorry, yeah. Thirds. So what I'm doing is I'm just practicing seeing 5ths and 3rds from any given string, right? Now, I'm not going to be able to get into the application of all of this today, but just to give you a quick sneak peek, you can take these shapes and you can create arpeggios, right? Like, or from any given note. So that was A and you got F. Or you can build chord shapes. Like I want to be like, I want a root, I want a 5th, and I want a 3rd. And this is like really incredible for helping you be able to have complete freedom on the neck of the guitar. I don't have time to get into that today, but what I want you to do between now and the next lesson is to just practice those 3rds and those 5ths and just get them down. And just get them down so that you know them like the back of your hand, because then the next lesson that we do when we actually start building chord shapes is going to make a ton of shape. So the next section we're going to do a thing on chord shapes, and then we're going to do a thing on arpeggios, and then we're going to move into some other intervals, some flat 3rds, flat 5ths, sharp 5ths, and we'll just keep building out to 7ths, 9ths, 11ths, 13ths, etc., so that you can have the complete freedom to build any scale, arpeggio, chord, and play any melody in any key and do everything you want on the guitar and have complete freedom over this thing that makes us all get a headache sometimes, right? So thanks so much for tuning in. Again, my name's Don with Freeway Music, and I hope you guys enjoyed the lesson. Please comment, please like it. If this is on YouTube, please subscribe, and also make sure you ask questions if you have any questions.